Is there something that fascinates you, something that you are crazy about, that whenever you're doing it, it feels like time stops, like nothing else in the world matters except you doing that thing? Well, if there is something like that, then this channel is for you. Because for me, I managed to discover that one thing that actually led me to build a life around something that I love. This video is actually the story of how I managed to come by skills of life and what I actually do for a living. The thing that has always fascinated me is really trying to understand why people say and do the things they do. And ever since I can remember, maybe I was like 13, 14 years old, I remember at the end of the day sitting in the bed just going through every interaction I had that day. As I started my social life and I started going out, I remember trying to think like, how did they react when I said something? Or how did I feel when they said X or Y? Or with time, actually, I started to get better at it because I started to think, okay, if I say this, they reacted this way, is that really true? And so I would say things to test out and to see if I get the same reaction. And then I moved to the US and I added the cultural element into it. And I was just fascinated by seeing how people from all over the world, and of course, I mean, you can't stereotype, but sometimes you can generalize a little bit of how our background and our society shapes the way we see the world and the way we act. And so adding that cultural element into the mix was fascinating. I mean, just being able to sit with somebody from anywhere else across the world and just have a discussion about life and see how we're both trying to achieve the same thing, but just have completely different ways of reaching that. That just fascinating for me. But it all changed in 2011. In 2011, there was one thing that completely transformed my life. I had this thing already in my mind of starting a blog, and I wanted to just, as I started to get better at figuring out things when it comes to like the way people say things and developing my empathetic skills, I started to write about how can I actually help people overcome their challenges. I saw that it didn't matter where you come from. I mean, we all wanted the same thing in life. And then this is really what I believe. It doesn't matter where you come from. We are trying just to be happy. And we're trying to build our lives. And I mean, our society and background is going to shape what we define that will make us happy and the way to get there. But in the end, we want the same life. Let's say we want to have a nice family, we want to be happy, we want to have happy with our job, the way we make a living, happy with where we live and our relationships and so on. And so I saw that at the same time as we were all going after the same thing, or we are going after the same thing, I realized that we all have the same obstacle, and that is ourselves. It was always the thing of, there was something in our mindset that, you know, we tell ourselves a story that this cannot happen. I'm not able to do this. I cannot do that. I don't know how to do X or Y. I don't have the resources. And so I saw that it didn't matter where people came from. There was always this one thing, themselves, stopping them from what they wanted to achieve. And it stops me all the time as well. And so I wanted to figure out a way of helping people. And whenever I see some kind of particular obstacle, I'll try to look into it, research a little bit, and then write a blog. And that's how Skills of Life happened. Actually, it started as called Fun Side of Life, and it was because I saw that people were stopping themselves from being happy and enjoying life, and so I wanted to help them overcome those obstacles so that they could live on the fun side of life. Fast forward to today, and as I see where I am in life, where I am living in a different country, I am an entrepreneur, I managed to find my passion, and I'm struggling and looking to build a life around it. That's where Skills of Life comes in. And that's how this whole channel turned out to be Skills of Life. And so the idea behind it is, how can we make a living by doing something we love? How can I do what I love every day and actually get paid for it? And so for me, what I'm passionate about, because there's a thing that fascinates me when it comes to people, but what I'm really passionate about is being able to help other people overcome those challenges. And back in 2011, something happened that allowed me to figure out the channel that I wanted to use to help other people. And that was a stage. In 2011, I had to deliver a presentation. And for 2 days, I was freaking out. This was just a 2 minute presentation, or 5 minutes, I think it was. But I was freaking out for 2 days. I was so anxious, just like wondering, why do I put myself in this situation? Why do I push myself? Seriously. And it was so bad that I actually asked a friend of mine to go with me for that presentation, and she said, well, I'll go, but as long as you deliver the presentation. I'm just gonna go for it for moral support. I'm like, fine, it'll be okay. The moment comes, and I start, and I think there were maybe like 5 people in that room. My voice wouldn't go out. My mind just went black. Like the whole body, like I could barely move. I got so stressed that actually I forgot what I wanted to say. My friend had to jump in and finish the presentation for me. And that was really one of the worst experiences I ever had in my life. And I remember walking out of that room and just coming back out of my trance and realizing that, oh my God, I never want to go through that experience again. Oh my God, I am in trouble. Because if I really want to help people overcome their challenges, if I want to make an impact, that's something I need to learn how to do. And so from that moment, I proposed myself never to go through that experience and actually to take on every single opportunity I had to speak in public. And just like the gym in the beginning, it was hard, it was tough, I sucked, I was really bad at it. But little by little, continuous improvement, you push yourself and you start getting better at it. And I start getting a little better at it. And actually, it got to the point where it became a passion of mine. And people noticed that I got better. And so they started inviting me, hey, Juan, can you speak here? Can you speak there? And so I started to get more and more invited. And I was sharing actually those stories that I was learning, those lessons that I was sharing in the blog. And so I got to travel to more than 10 countries. I spoke in front of more than 7,000 people. And that was like what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But I didn't realize, because one thing was, when you enjoy it and you like what you're doing, you're not making a living out of it, you struggle with it and it seems like a hobby. But the moment that made me choose to do that was once when somebody came to me at one of the events and said, Juan, thank you. Because what you shared today actually allowed me to see things in a different way. I've been struggling with this problem for a while, and thanks to your story, I can see that there are actually other ways that I can approach it. And so I want to say thank you because you allow me to move forward. And that was the moment when I realized, okay, the power that the stage has. That was the moment I chose, okay, this is the way I want to share my message. This is the way I want to help out. Now I went on and tried to figure out every single day, how can I make a living out of this? How can I make an impact and support and help others? Because I think that this is one of the most challenging things. When you find your passion and you're trying to make a living out of that, it's a double-edged sword, because at the same time you're willing to do it for free. You're good at it, it becomes easy for you, and so you feel that it's wrong to charge people for something like that. And this is where I struggled for a long time. Also then how to figure out how to put together a product, how to sell, how to communicate it, how to position myself. I mean, it has been a struggle to the point where I actually move on to another project. And for 3 years, I moved on to something else because I couldn't figure out how to make a living. And so I kept coming back and doing the presentations and things like that. But I never went all in again because I tried it and I failed miserably. I was so broke. I was struggling so much that when I saw this new opportunity, I chased it because the value proposition was clear. It was easier to sell. It made more sense to the customers. And so over a while, this project grew, but I always had in the back of my head, you need to go back at it. You need to start all over again. You need to continue. You're good. People see it. And so there's always this constant fear of like, okay, how do I stop this new project that I have? Because I know I'm not crazy passionate about it. And how can I go back to the place where I really feel myself, where time stops, where I don't track time anymore and I can just go all in and shape my message in a way that I can deliver from the stage and help people in the audience? How can I help other people also deliver their presentations and make an impact with a way of building businesses? And so I decided to go ahead and come back to Skills of Life. I continue to have my business, I continue to sell it, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna go to Skills of Life, I'm gonna continue it, I'm gonna go and see how it goes. And so that's why I'm so excited that you're here in my joining me in this journey as I try to explore and figure out a way for us to build a business around doing what we love. I want to share with you everything that I learned across the way. Today, I work with entrepreneurs, I coach them, I deliver workshops for companies, I moderate events, and it is great. It is something that is going and growing, but it's far off from making a living just from that. And so this is why I'm sharing everything that I can, everything that I learned through this channel. I plan to do interviews with people who are ahead in my journey, who are doing something they love for a living, or who are doing marketing or delegating or hiring. And so if you feel that there is a calling, if you feel there's something that you're good at and that you want to share, and that whenever you do it, you get lost in it, and that also people recognize how good you are at it, well, that's what this channel is all for. I'm going to be sharing everything that I learned along the way so that you can build a business around doing something that you love. Thank you so much for listening to my story, and that's how this whole thing started. Now, I packed like 20 years in just this video, but I want to hear about your comments. I want to hear what you think. What is your passion? What is something that makes you feel like you're in the zone? Make sure to share it in the comment section below. Obviously, I would like to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know whenever I drop a new video. But above all, go in the comment section below and share what is that thing that passionates you, that thing that time doesn't matter anymore, that the whole world stops because you're doing what you love. Make sure to share in the comment section. I'll be going through that and getting back to you. All right. Thank you so much.